ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to HOTFIX. Today, we're going to be talking about Kickstarter abuse, which is quite the title and could mean quite a few things. So specifically, it's more to do with when big names, so industry veterans, actually turn up and use Kickstarter. I've got some problems with this, and yeah. Over to you anyway, Mr. Kirioth. Over to you.
Well, the main problem is when large developers, people who are known, you know, the big names in the industry. For instance, we could pull out the name of Mr. Peter Molyneux here, approach Kickstarter and put up their Kickstarter page and say, we would like to make this game. We have no art assets, we have no storyline, we have no plot, we have a vague idea of what the game is, but do you remember all the other games I made? Do you remember that game I made 10 years ago? That was an amazing game.
I think when Molyneux did it, he kind of at least had something. The worst offender was David Braben, the Elite Dangerous Kickstarter. When that first came out, it was just like, God, remember this, remember Elite, it was amazing, give me money and we'll make it again. And that was it. And it's like, well, hang on a minute. To be fair to them, they did quickly sort that out. Now, if they hadn't have done that, they would have massively flopped. So, yeah, like Kirioth is saying, we've got Peter Molyneux, we've got David Braben, we've got Chris Roberts with Star Citizen, we've got obviously Peter Molyneux was Goddess, which is the new like God game from them, and today we had announced that Gas Powered Games is actually putting their latest game called Wildman on Kickstarter. It's on Kickstarter now. So yeah, my issue is why are they even using Kickstarter? Because, you know, let's be honest here, these are big industry veteran names that could go and get funding from anywhere. So why are they using Kickstarter?
See, I think it's largely down to the fact that, I mean, to be honest, when Kickstarter first started, my initial thought was, oh god, this is going to be terrible. You know, because I just assumed it would just be full of money-grubbing people who would just come to take cash, make a half-assed game, and make off with it. That's pretty much what I thought it would be. But actually,
that could be a completely different hotfix as well, because that has happened, like with basically thefts going down and stuff like that. But
the way I'm seeing it now is that if you look at the major releases, like the big hyped AAA things, the invention and release of a new IP or a brand new game is getting quite rare now. If you look at it, let's face it. I mean, what were some of the biggest releases this year? Last year, sorry, Assassin's Creed 3, which is like actually the 4th or 5th in the series, whichever one it is. Black Ops 2. You know, it's all sequels. There's sequel on sequel being released, and it looks increasingly like that's just what publishers want. They want tried and tested, don't they? Well, they liked this game the first time, so just make it again. Stick a 2 on the end, make some improvements, and we'll release that.
That's the very that's the great way to look at Kickstarter. But I mean, unfortunately, this is what I'm seeing. So essentially, I'm just seeing greed. Like, these people can get funding from other places, yeah. If you do that, there'll be certain restrictions placed on you. You need to have a game completed by this deadline. We want this percentage of profits. We want this, we want that, yeah? Now, with Kickstarter, you just literally go out into the crowd and say, hey, I'm going to make a game. I would like $1 million to make the game. So when you give me $1 million, I'll go and make the game. Now, because they're completely in charge of the entire operation, they don't have a publisher or anything attached to them. They can just literally say, oh, right, so what we're going to do is, we might have made $2 million on our Kickstarter, but really, we only need 500,000 to do this and do that, because we can use assets from this, and we can do this. Oh, look, we're making quite a big profit now. And then when the game's launched, right, we can sell the game. So we make money through the development process, and then sell the game for money, for more money. And this is like, the businessman inside me is like, this is a very cynical way of making money, because you can turn up and say, look, here's my latest God game called Goddess. My name's Peter Molyneux. Remember me? Remember Black and White? Oh, they were amazing. So if you give me some money now, and I get my 2 million or my 3 million or whatever the hell he asked for, dollars, then you know what? I'm going to make that game for you guys. What they'll never tell you is how much it's actually cost to produce that game, because they're literally keeping everything else as profit. They don't have a developer which is saying to them, a publisher, sorry, saying to them, going, you need to get this out by this date. They just do it live.
But the thing is, on the other hand, though, surely the people who are backing the project get a copy of the game. That's how most of them have worked. So,
oh yeah, so there'll be,
so but that's got to be factored in.
Yeah. But they're not sales of the game though. Like, this is a strange way of looking at it. They're not game sales. That's like me just. It's like a pre-order. but you're pre-ordering something that hasn't been made, and it's not a sale. It's not like this is the finished product, buy the game. It's like you're taking a bit of a gamble on it. I mean, I admit that's going to cut into any profits they've got, yeah, but they're still going to have more profits. Now, is that a bad or a good thing? Well, for a small company, a startup company, or something like that, it's a great thing. But for people who, as I said, are industry veterans, to me, it's just like a piss take. Like, yeah, I mean, it's almost like they're tempting people back. I mean, if you look at Kickstarter, right, why would you back a project on Kickstarter? Because you like that genre of game, yeah? You like the idea of that game. You may have played Wing Commander, so you want Star Citizen. That's who you are, so you're going to back that game. Now, Kickstarter is almost starting to define people. You know, this is who I am, yeah? Because I like, I don't know, RTS games. So every RTS game, I'm going to back it, yeah? Now, you can kind of, you can, again, cynically say they are blatantly exploiting this. They are saying, look, my name's Peter Molyneux. You know I made Black and White. I'm going to make a new game like Populous, and it's going to be awesome, so give me your money. So you're like, oh, I really like that game, and you give him the money, right? It's clever. Because if he went to a publisher and said, give me the cash, or got any kind of funding, they may fund him for that. And I probably think they would fund him for it because of the success games like Black and White had, because they were massively popular. And I know you like Black and White, so it's that you being Mr. Kirioth, not a random first in the crowd. It's like
with some things, yeah, I think you've got a point. I think especially with Goddess or Goddess, however it's pronounced, I don't see why that needs to go on Kickstarter, because Peter Molyneux is not an unknown name in the industry. He's had massively successful games all the way through. And he does have a habit of overpromising. So the fact that it went through is like, that's kind of worrying, because he's promised all this stuff that, frankly, I don't think a lot of it's going to make it. I don't think it's going to happen. So in that respect, I think that could have gone to a publisher, and I think he could have got funding elsewhere. But for another example, as you say, Gas Powered Games have put their newest idea up on Kickstarter, which is Wildman. Now, I'm sorry, but it sounds like an interesting concept. I wouldn't back it personally, but I look at that, and then you look at what they've done before. If they walked into a publisher's office and said, right, we can either produce this RPG RTS that no one has ever heard of, it's a brand new IP, and it's not tried. It's not tried, it's not tested, it's something we've not really done before, or we can make Subcom 3, which we don't really want to make. I mean, what is a publisher going to do?
Fucking hell, make Subcom 3? Like this, this is what... Yeah, I know, but this is what annoys me. Why are they even going into it? I mean, this is a completely different argument anyway I'm about to go into, but why are they even bothering going into some stupid hybrid game when they know, right, Subcom 3, if it... Just delete Subcom 2, that was terrible. If Subcom 3 was like Subcom 1, on a bigger scale, surely it would sell. Now, they've kind of missed the trick, because Planetary Annihilation, that's another Kickstarter. That's sort of wiped that out.
No.
So they're never going
to... Shut up. I'm stopping you. No. Right, here's something for you. Our chivalry videos are very popular. So, stop making other videos, just make chivalry. Do you want to do that? Is that something you'd be interested in doing? No, they're very popular. It's the same thing. They don't want to make Subcom 3. They want to make something else.
Why aren't we making Happy Wheels videos?
Yeah, but you don't want to do that, do you? Because it's shit.
No,
and you don't
that's where
like
you get the money from.
Well, why aren't you doing it then? It's
because
the same
I don't want
principle.
to do it.
Yeah, so shut the fuck up.
No, it's not though. Like, it's not though, because what they're doing is they are effectively like the problem is, right, if let's just use the Chris Taylor example. So he wants to make this crazy RTS RPG hybrid game. He wants to make that, yeah, and he knows he's not really going to get much interest from a publisher. They want him to do Subcom 3, okay, right? That's the example we're rolling with. But he also knows, yeah, that if he goes on Kickstarter, he's going to make himself more money than he would making Subcom 3, because number one, he can do what the hell he likes. Number two, he gets all the cash to do it, so he can piss about doing whatever. So he still wins. It's not like he's said to himself, "Oh God, I'm not going to make Subcom 3, even though I know it'd make loads of cash. I want to make this labour of love." I don't think that's the case, and I think that's where it's a little bit. But I do agree with what you're saying, yeah. But
no,
that's where
I disagree with that, because just because they've got to where they are because of certain games, I don't think they should just keep making that game. And if it's a choice between going to a publisher and saying, well, we can make another sequel, or going to going to Kickstarter and saying, we want to make this, do you want us to make it? And people saying yes, you go to Kickstarter all day, because it's not... I know that games are, they're the big industry at the moment. A ton of money goes through games. But you're not telling me that someone would prefer to sit there and just rehash the same game over and over when there's an opportunity to go and do something new.
Well, let's forget the sequel argument, and let's just say... we don't know what the situation is. Let's say they could get publisher funding. This is like the grey area. We don't know if they could or they couldn't. We are going off the weight of their names and the fact they're veterans in the industry and all the rest of it. Like, they probably could, because they'll have a lot of contacts and a lot of experience in that type of stuff. Like, it's like that they would prefer... I mean, okay, let's go crazy. Let's just say, right, I'm the publisher, and I've said, here you go, Kiri, you can make Super Master Blaster Man 1, right, and I'll give you the money for it. But you can also decide to make that on Kickstarter, and you're thinking, yeah, but you're going to take a percentage of my thing. I'll go to Kickstarter because I've got my name Kirioth. People know who I am. They're surely going to give me money because of my past games from 20 years ago or whatever. So you go on Kickstarter regardless. That's my main problem with Kickstarter and big names. I haven't got a problem with it with smaller companies, indie companies, or anything like that. People who want to, try new ideas. But when it's somebody who is not running a company on the edge, on the brink of collapse, it's a company that knows what it's doing. That's where I've got issues with Kickstarter.
So yeah, that's actually kind of I go the other way with that. I don't have an issue with Kickstarter in that respect. I think, as I've said, there are the occasional projects where I think they could have got conventional funding. I think they shouldn't have gone to Kickstarter.
Well, I think most of these could.
That Goddess one, but
actually, the only one I don't think probably would have got conventional funding was probably Elite Dangerous, because that is not really... Why would you fund that? Maybe even Star Citizen as well. But Goddess...
Goddess, I refuse to believe that you couldn't get... Because that's Peter Molyneux making a God game. Didn't he pretty much invent the fucking genre? I mean, he's exactly the guy... So, how he couldn't get conventional funding, I don't believe that at all. But, on the other hand, I think there's some merit to doing what Gas Powered Games have done, because what are they known for, Gas Powered Games? Really? It's strategy, it's RTS. That's their big thing. Well, that's what they're known for.
Yeah, but all they're doing is they're just combining Dungeon Siege and strategy. They're just combining the two genres they've worked on into one game for this. That's what it looks like.
But the thing that is like the most, when you think Gas Powered Games, you think
for us
Subcom.
It would be Subcom, yeah. But other people would think Dungeon Siege. And maybe two people might think Demigod.
But even Demigod was like it was pretty much RTS. To a degree, it was still it still had that route, that same route that they've had all the way through. So, I think with them, I don't have a problem with them going to Kickstarter for this, because, okay, fine, they might make more profit or whatever, but I, as a publisher, if they sat me down and said, okay, right, we've got this idea where it's an RPG mixed with an RTS, we've got shape shifting, we've got like crazy giant things attacking you, it's like early Earthman, caveman kind of setting, I'd sit there and go, what the fuck are you talking about? It's a very...
Yeah, but you can't say that because you're not a publisher or whatever. You can't say that. But the problem is, like, I guess you could say I can't say what I'm saying, but the thing is, I just honestly believe these big names, they can get funding elsewhere. And what they're doing is very clever, because they're using what is effectively a marketing trick to twig on people's inner soul on Kickstarter, because people like to use Kickstarter as a thing that defines them, saying, I like this type of game, whatever, so I'm going to back it. I also know who Peter Molyneux is, blah, blah, blah. So I've got more of a chance of backing it. Peter Molyneux as an example, I've seen him all over Yogscast and everything. It's like, what is he doing on Yogscast videos? That's just promotion, ain't it? Oh yeah, Goddess, I'm making jewellery. He pisses me off anyway, and I'm going to rage. I'm going to rage, right, boy? And I'm just like, I honestly believe they're cynically abusing the entire Kickstarter ecosystem to make more money for the South, but the end outcome is still the same for the consumer, really, because you're still going to get the same game. So then you could say, well, Stylosa, well, surely if they want to make more money and they're still going to give you the same thing, then fucking make more money. But to me, Kickstarter started off as like a dream for places where small companies could go, I've got this idea, do you want to back me? But then it just turned into Double Fine making fucking millions off it, and every other publisher, every other big name going, you know what, you know what? Let's do a Kickstarter. Boom, $1 million. And it's like that's what I'm seeing, and it's sending me wild, sir. Wild.
So I just don't agree with you at all. I just think you can't do a blanket generalisation across all of the big names that go to Kickstarter like that, because if you want to break out and do something different, and a publisher won't let you, to just sit there and go, oh, well, in that case,
yeah,
I
but
better
we
just
don't
make a
know that
sequel.
they haven't let them though.
Yeah, but we don't know that they would. This is the problem. This is the issue, right? You're sitting there going, oh no, they could get it anywhere. They could get the development wherever they went.
I'm sure they could though. They must have contacts. My evidence is they must have contacts. Yeah, they must have. All
and if
that
the contact said
in
no,
the industry.
what then?
Well, then you go away and die, bloke. That's what.
Then you go to Kickstarter. Ooh, circular argument. It doesn't work. You can't just say they can get the funding.
If the idea is good enough to succeed on Kickstarter, because let's face it, they know it's going to succeed on Kickstarter. They wouldn't do it if they knew it was going to fail. They just wouldn't.
Yeah, but hang on, wait, hang on.
Kickstarter is
Dangerous nearly fucking collapsed in the early days
because it was a fucking retarded. Yeah, it was retarded. The guy didn't know what he was doing. But fucking all the other ones, they are almost as if it's a given. It's a set deal. Like, we know we're going to get Planetary Annihilation funded. We know we're going to get Star Citizen funded, and then fucking millions more. They know they're going to do it because they know what they're offering is so attractive. And I mean, I've been sucking into this because Star Citizen and Planetary Annihilation, I basically pissed myself at the sight of them. I'm like. So then you do say, well, Kickstarter's great because it's bought these games out of nowhere. But at the time, it wasn't like every big fucking Tom, Dick and Harry was turning up saying, here's my Kickstarter for all my games. And I don't know where this is going to keep going. You know, who's going to be next? I would never have imagined Chris Taylor and Gas Powered Games would turn up on Kickstarter. But then they did straight away. It's like, oh, what?
But then what else are they doing at the moment? They've stopped development of Age of Empires Online. So, and that wasn't even like, I mean, let's face it.
You know what? It would be
It's
nice.
hardly a gas-powered games thing, is it? Age of Empires Online. Let's be perfectly fucking blunt here.
No, it's just a big paycheck, ain't it? That's why they've done it.
It's like, to me, it looks like they've gone from doing work for money, and they've looked for places to get cash for. Maybe they did find funding for Wildman, but maybe it was some kind of stupid constraint. We don't know how it works. We know
It'd
that
be nice
publishers
to have
put down
somebody
goals
on, wouldn't
and
it?
stuff.
It'd be nice to talk to somebody who can give us the information, because a lot of the shit we're just like dreaming up. Really, we don't really have solid evidence behind it. We've got obviously our points of view. I mean, I could easily sit there and go, it's cynical as the day's long. Kirioth can easily go, well, you're full of crap, and I can tell him he's full of crap. We just never get anywhere because we're not really. But I think we've kind of put forward like some of the I guess they are issues. I think they are issues with Kickstarter, but also does have its benefits.
Well, it does, because I mean, at the end of the day, okay, so the studio makes more money. This is the other thing as well. We're assuming they do. There might be some kind of ridiculous case where they've managed to fuck themselves over and they make less than if they'd gone to a publisher. I don't know. It could have happened. We don't know without someone actually telling us how much stuff costs.
It's all behind closed doors, though, ain't it? So nobody's ever going to tell you.
And maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe these kind of discussions wouldn't be necessary if people were honest about how much stuff cost. If they actually sat down and said, this is what this costs, this is what this costs. The closest we've got was it Planetary Annihilation, where for every $1,000 or $10,000 over what they actually got for the goal, they added more stuff into the game. That's the closest we've got, and even then, we don't know whether they could have afforded to do all that anyway, or whether that was just a publicity stunt. The cynical way of looking at it is
it probably was.
It looks like a publicity stunt, but then it could be that they genuinely, now that they've got more money, can afford to do that. It's difficult to tell without.
This is like a massive another argument again. Like, I mean, if you say one of the stretch goals on Planetary Annihilation, I'm just making this up as we roll, is to add 5 new vehicles or ships or tanks or whatever, and that's going to be $100,000. That's clearly bullshit. That is like that, because they would just basically copy our assets and mash together a new unit. It's not going to cost that much money for somebody sitting at a computer to design the unit, and then for somebody to do the audio and the animation. So you do get points like that, which I think are a bit strange.
But then if they said, thanks to the extra money, we've now got a full soundtrack for the entire game, complete with voice acting for every single unit, you kind of think,
if it was something impressive, maybe
like something like that, because that
again, it's pointless even going to this, because again, I would like to know, when Planetary Annihilation gets to its end and it's launched, how much did it cost to produce? That's what I want to know. We're never going to know, but it would be nice if it was like, oh, well, it only cost $1.2 million or something, but they made this much. Or maybe it cost more than the Kickstarter. Maybe they had to get funding as well as the Kickstarter.
I think transparency is the key, isn't it?
Crazy.
It would make
crazy.
It would make the decision as to what to back and stuff a lot easier. It would make it a lot more. I suppose for the bigger names, I would really like to know how many publishers were approached for Wildman, for instance, before they decided to go to Kickstarter. Did they even try it? Did they go to a few and they said no and thought, oh well, it's not going to work? Or did they just think, fuck it, we'll just try Kickstarter? You know,
or let's go cynical again. Peter Molyneux thinks he's some sort of celebrity, so he can just do what he likes. Talk shit like he's on an Apple advert. Orders of magnitude better. That's what he reminds me of. It's just going crazy. Oh, look, listen, we're ending this because we're just going to carry on. So that's been a great debate we've just had there. Now, what I want to know, a few people in the chat, well, you're not in the chat, in the comments below, is what do you think of Kickstarter? What do you honestly think of Kickstarter when it comes to big names, big industry veterans putting Kickstarters up? What do you think? I want to know. Kirioth wants to know. We all want to know. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, which is @UnitLostGaming. Follow Kirioth. He's @Kirioth. Subscribe to the channel. And we'll catch him next time, Mr. Kirioth. Toodaloo.